Losing just one night of sleep increases a key Alzheimer's protein in your brain by up to 30%. Not after years of poor sleep. Not after decades. One night. That finding comes from research published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, and it is one of several pieces of evidence reviewed in 2 recent studies that together paint a detailed picture of how sleep and Alzheimer's disease are connected. The connection is not new, but the mechanism is now considerably better understood, and the implications reach further than most people realize. Before we go any further, because this is Curious and Verified, here are the sources. The first is a review published in Heliyon in April 2024, examining sleep deprivation as a risk factor for the development and progression of Alzheimer's disease. The second is a systematic review and meta-analysis published in Alzheimer's and Dementia in 2025, analyzing the relationship between sleep quality, sleep duration, and Alzheimer's biomarkers. Both links are in the description. Everything in this video comes directly from these 2 papers. Now, let's get into it. Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia. It affects tens of millions of people worldwide. And despite decades of research, there is still no cure. What science has identified, however, are risk factors, things that appear to increase the likelihood of developing the disease. Age is the largest. Genetics play a role. Cardiovascular health matters. And increasingly, sleep appears on that list, not as a minor footnote, as a consistent, biologically plausible and growing body of evidence. The 2024 Heliyon review noted that poor sleep often precedes the onset of Alzheimer's symptoms, sometimes by years. This is important because it raises the possibility that sleep disruption is not merely a symptom of Alzheimer's disease, but a contributor to its development. To understand how sleep might influence Alzheimer's risk, you need to understand 2 proteins. The first is amyloid beta. Amyloid beta is a waste product produced naturally in the brain during normal neural activity. Under healthy conditions, it is cleared away. When it is not cleared efficiently, it accumulates. It clumps together. And it forms the plaques that are one of the defining features of Alzheimer's disease. The second protein is tau. Tau normally helps stabilize the internal structure of neurons, the brain cells responsible for transmitting information. In Alzheimer's disease, tau becomes abnormally modified, a process called hyperphosphorylation, and forms tangles inside neurons, disrupting their function and eventually causing cell death. The 2024 Heliyon review found that sleep deprivation promotes both amyloid beta accumulation and tau hyperphosphorylation. The mechanism connecting sleep and amyloid clearance runs through the glymphatic system, a topic we have covered in an earlier video on this channel. During deep sleep, the brain's waste clearance system becomes significantly more active. Cerebrospinal fluid flows through the brain tissue, sweeping out accumulated proteins including amyloid beta. When sleep is disrupted, or when deep sleep is shortened, this clearance process is impaired. Waste accumulates. The 2024 review cited evidence that just one night of total sleep deprivation was associated with a 30% increase in amyloid beta levels compared to sleeping controls. That is a striking figure. And it suggests that the relationship between sleep and amyloid clearance is not a slow, gradual process. It is something that begins to shift within a single night. The 2025 meta-analysis from Alzheimer's and Dementia examined this question from a different angle. Rather than looking at sleep deprivation in isolation, it analyzed studies measuring sleep quality and sleep duration against actual Alzheimer's biomarkers in the blood and cerebrospinal fluid. The analysis found that longer sleep duration was associated with higher amyloid beta 42:40 ratios. That ratio matters. A higher ratio indicates less amyloid accumulation in the brain. A lower ratio is associated with greater amyloid deposition and higher dementia risk. In other words, the data suggests that people who sleep longer tend to show biological markers associated with lower Alzheimer's risk. The meta-analysis also examined tau biomarkers. And again, the findings pointed in the same direction. Poorer sleep quality was associated with higher levels of phosphorylated tau, the form of tau associated with Alzheimer's pathology. The 2024 Heliyon review went further and examined the biological pathways through which sleep deprivation might promote Alzheimer's disease. Several were identified. Glial cell activation. The brain's immune cells become more inflammatory when sleep is insufficient, and neuroinflammation is increasingly understood to play a role in Alzheimer's progression. The orexin system. Orexin is a neurotransmitter that regulates wakefulness. Research has found that orexin levels influence amyloid accumulation, and drugs that modulate orexin are now being explored as potential therapeutic targets in Alzheimer's research. Circadian rhythm disruption. The body's internal clock coordinates the timing of brain waste clearance. When circadian rhythms are disrupted, that timing is thrown off. Each of these pathways, the review noted, represents a potential mechanism through which chronic sleep disruption could contribute to Alzheimer's risk. Now, a critical eye. Both studies have limitations worth acknowledging. The 2025 meta-analysis drew on studies that varied considerably in methodology. Sleep was measured differently across studies, some using objective devices, others using self-reported questionnaires. Alzheimer's biomarkers were also measured using different techniques across different populations. This variability makes precise conclusions difficult. Additionally, the relationship between sleep and Alzheimer's is bidirectional. Poor sleep may contribute to amyloid accumulation, but amyloid accumulation also disrupts sleep, particularly slow-wave sleep, the deepest and most restorative stage. This means that in the later stages of Alzheimer's progression, the causal arrow may run in both directions simultaneously. The 2024 Heliyon review acknowledged this directly, noting that disentangling cause from effect remains a challenge in this field. And most of the sleep deprivation research cited was conducted on young, healthy adults or on animal models. Whether the same mechanisms operate identically in older adults, the population most at risk for Alzheimer's, requires further investigation. So where does this leave us? Both studies suggest that the relationship between sleep and Alzheimer's risk is biological, plausible, and consistent across multiple lines of evidence. Sleep deprivation appears to impair the clearance of amyloid beta. It appears to promote tau hyperphosphorylation, and it activates inflammatory and hormonal pathways that research has linked to neurodegeneration. None of this means that improving your sleep will prevent Alzheimer's disease. The science does not support that claim. What it does suggest is that sleep is not a passive state, and that the quality of what happens in your brain while you sleep may have consequences that extend across decades. Let's bring this back to where we started. A 30% increase in a key Alzheimer's protein after one night of lost sleep. That is not a headline designed to frighten you. It is a data point from a controlled study that tells us something important about what the sleeping brain is doing and what happens when it cannot. The research does not have all the answers yet. The pathways are complex. The causal relationships are not fully resolved, but the direction of the evidence is consistent, and the question it leaves open is one worth sitting with. If the brain's ability to clear waste during sleep is one of its most essential nightly functions, what are we doing, individually and as a society, to protect it? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Both studies are linked in the description, peer-reviewed, and published in Heliyon and Alzheimer's and Dementia. As always on this channel, the source comes first. Subscribe if you want more, and we will see you in the next one.